All right. Happy opening day to you. Happy true opening day. Baseball wise, Rangers go at 3:15 this afternoon, right after we get off the show. And that'll be exciting. And the first game of the day, last night the Yankees got a win. The game was on Netflix. People seem mad. They don't love the job Netflix did. I took a peek, didn't watch the whole game. I was just kind of monitoring things. It's not good that early in the game they're doing like a dugout interview, and so they missed the first ABS ruling, where they challenge a strike or a ball or whatever, and so that was going to be the first one in Major League Baseball history, and Netflix was off doing something else. All right, and I think they had Jameis Winston running around doing weird stuff. Which again, some of you that are watching this may have found that entertaining. A lot of folks on social media today hated it, but again, some people hate everything. So I'll judge on my own. I didn't really take a close look at last night's game on Netflix. Today's first game, Mets in Pirates, is on Peacock. Kevin Hoosier Hall, our fine producer, my friend, there he is. Oh, gosh, he's going with the shades today. Only one of us, sir, can do this. There he is. Now, Kev, I believe the Mets are off to a 5-2 lead in this one, which is in the top of the second. This game is already kind of dragging because
bottom of the second.
Pirates, okay, now it's the bottom of the second. That would mean that the great Paul Skeens did not get off to a great start. One of the great pitchers in all of baseball, obviously taking the ball to start the season for the Pirates. The Mets up 5-2. I mean, it could always, with my Pirates, it could be errors. It could be a lot of things. Okay, but not a great start to be down 5-2 with one of the best pitchers in baseball on the mound. That stinks. That's not the right way to start the season.
Are you sure Skeens started?
Unless he got scratched, he was going to be the opening day starter.
Well, he's not out there right now in the bottom of the second. So
he got knocked out of the game then because they're down 5-2.
Yeah.
Unless they scratched him. Now you've gotten me very curious.
I'm just reporting what I'm seeing.
I know. But yeah, he was scheduled to start the game. Let's see. I hate this when I don't get okay, hold on, here we go. Let's go with this box score. So Skeens did start. He lasted 2/3 of an inning, 5 earned runs, no homers, did get 1 strikeout, walked 2, got 4 hits, 5 earned runs, and he didn't make it out of the first inning. All right. And they had to get him off the mound after 2/3 of an inning. So, yes, he did start, Kev. And it's been a disastrous start for the Pirates as Skeens goes out there and just gets rocked early. I will say we do have got a home run. We do have a home run for the Brandon Lowe, a little second baseman for the Pirates. And when I say little, he is a little 5'9" guy, 31-year-old second baseman, does have a 2-run homer to account for the 2 runs that the Pirates have, and they trail 5-2. So there you go. Paul Skeens off to a rough start. Let's hope Nasty Nate Eovaldi and the Rangers do better. That game, first pitch 3:15 against the Philadelphia Phillies. They are in. And there we go. Starting lineup for the Rangers 3 weeks ago. The great Andrew McCutchen did not have a job. He is now batting 5th for the Rangers in the opening day lineup. And I would not say that's a lineup that scares a lot of people. At some point we continue to wait on, Evan Carter, and he will be, you see it. He's not in the opening day lineup, and I would assume then that the Phillies have a lefty on the mound. But Nimmo from it has in the past been great at getting on base. Last year, he kind of had a breakout year power-wise. I think he had 25 home runs last year, but they may ask him to be more of a traditional, hey, get on base, and he's been great at that in the past. I don't think he was that great at it last year, but certainly did have some pop last year. Wyatt Langford second, Seager third. First time in a long time, Marcus Semien not in there, player who helped them win a World Series. Jake Berger was not good last season, batting cleanup. McCutcheon fifth, who did not have a job, as I said 3 weeks ago. Young sixth, Josh Smith, who's really been a great utility player for the Rangers, and then emerged as an everyday player. So nothing about that. Haggerty is fine. I mean, in the 9-hole. I mean, Zeke Duran made the opening day lineup, but obviously not in the opening day lineup. I'm saying he made the opening day roster. Danny Jansen catching and hitting 8th. Again, that's not what it should excite Rangers fans is the pitching lineup, because you got Evaldi starting off, and even their Kev, their third pitcher, their fifth pitcher, I think is the fifth starter is going to be Kumar Rocker. Leiter is in there, would be the fourth. Their third pitcher is Mackenzie Gore, and that's pretty exciting. I mean, at times he has appeared destined for greatness, and if that guy's your third pitcher, that's a pretty strong lineup. So DeGrom, obviously, and then Nasty Nate leading off today, pitching for the Rangers. So, I would say that this is an exciting team in terms of pitching. Not a very exciting team when it comes to their lineup. All right, there was nothing. I mean, obviously, hopefully, Seager comes rolling back this year. Nimmo is an interesting player. Again, leading off for you, but that's not be great if they could keep Young healthy, and if he gets going, I would say there's potential. But if I'm looking at this objectively, which I try to do, Kev, I would say that the Rangers go into this season with about, like, if you're doing like the power rankings on the best teams in Major League Baseball, I would say the Rangers come in somewhere around like 21 or 22. All right. Now, huge day for the Astros, because you got the Astros. Kevin's got their starting lineup. You got the Astros doing their thing. And boy, from some of these championship teams and these long-time playoff teams, you're starting to see some major turnover with this lineup. Let me take a peek. Now, interesting to have Yordan Alvarez. He's been great in the past. He's also been injured a lot. Altuve, you just plug him in there for year after year after year. I think it's, I say there's a big turnover. The three of the first four, and in the 3-hole hitter is obviously a guy on the rise. So yeah, I mean, a lot of turnover after you get out of the top 5 hitters, because for years they would put Bregman in there, and and then obviously Springer's now with Toronto. So some of the greats have moved on, but still some pop in there. But some of their big hitters have moved out of there. I don't know, that I would say that lineup gives you some hope if you're an Astros fan. It's just not the murderer's row that it was for a lot of years.
So you were mentioning power rankings. I looked up the New York Times official power rankings
Yeah.
and
Or they
preseason, and
have the Astros.
they had the Astros tied at 16th, the Rangers just ahead of them at 15.
That's better than what I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say most people have the Rangers kind of in that 20 to 25 range, but for that's good. Kev, look at you, like reading the New York Times. You're very you probably right after you read the Wall Street Journal, you like to look through all the newspapers. Kevin's still a good newspaper man. Maybe even still takes a peek at the Indy Star right out there, right out of Indianapolis.
Yeah. I used to know the owner back in the day.
Oh, Kev. Now that is some major name dropping. What is the owner's name?
I forget. I remember he had a lot of kids, and we were in the same homeschool group. So there you go.
Oh my gosh! All this
the headline read a lot better than the actual article on that one.
That's right. I would say so. Okay, so interesting. Day one to baseball. We'll keep you up to date because a lot of these games are going to get started during our show. I'll probably go hole up, and we'll probably just hear it out back because it's a pretty day, and watch the whole Rangers game. I used to watch every single Rangers game pretty much all the way through. With the advent of TiVo, I was obviously that helped me. But when I was doing radio in Dallas, I watched every single game, partly because my co-host was an enormous baseball guy and covered the Rangers for years, Randy Galloway. So we talked a lot of Rangers baseball. I don't find myself doing that quite as much anymore. I don't know if I've said this to you guys yet today. Cole Wilson, the Baylor's, and he's really come rolling up some draft boards. He's going to hop on with us at 1:30. That's the Baylor wide receiver. I mean, I loved what he did for the Bears. He ended up with, I don't know, 600 or 700 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's fast. He had a
Pirates
huge
update.
vertical. Yeah, that's fine.
Low got a homer, 5-3.
Another homer. He'd already gotten a homer.
There you go.
Wow. All right.
Solo
Lowe's going crazy.
There you go.
Yeah, he had a 2-run homer earlier today. Is it? Okay. All right. Pirates battling a little bit after Skeens did not give them anything. Now, Cole Wilson, that's Cole with a K. Again, will join us at about 1:30, and that's good. Kevin sent him over the link, and I mean, I love talking to him the other day. You're really going to enjoy him. Kevin, what was his line? They said, what got into you or something? He said, adrenaline and Jesus or the Lord.
Adrenaline in the Lord.
I like it.
There could be a lot worse things, honestly, that could have gotten into him to
I think that's great. Adrenaline in the Lord. Man, he ran a 4.35. I was going to ask him also, Kevin, I've got all these things that are coming to me. His agent is Ben Thomas. This guy interests me because he was like a personnel guy at a university, and now he's become a player agent. I'm always a little bit interested in how these guys end up with the agents they pick. But so Cole Wilson will join us. Might have tomorrow. We're looking at maybe Michael Trigg, so we'll see. As the Rangers get ready to play the Phillies, man, it's a little sad. I see a picture at batting practice of Adolis Garcia. Wow. Always will be a Rangers hero. Right up there. Probably not quite as, I mean, I don't think he's as beloved as Adrian Beltre. Has not had the career that Beltre had, but it's not far behind because he was the postseason hero that year. And it was the great Adolis who, in that unbelievable ALCS against the Astros, where the Rangers looked down and out. They had one that they let get away from them in an infamous game. It might have been game 3. somebody will know out there. But anyway, Adolis came rolling back and had one of the great postseasons, really in MLB history, certainly in Rangers history. He is now in a Phillies uniform, and the Rangers will be going up against him today. So all of that going on as we speak. Kev, a huge story today that we need to roll with, and we'll have more in Campus Confidential. And let's not forget that we have Sweet 16 tonight. So I brought up the Houston in the context of baseball. Houston Open started today, the golf tournament, and then at night you've got the Sweet 16, and Houston and Illinois will get it on. So I mean, you got everything in the world going on there, and I love it. I love Ben McCollum. I was listening to him yesterday talk about watching. Being at a recruiting event and watching some basketball, and he was sitting next to Kelvin Sampson like last summer or something. And Sampson said, or maybe it was like a year ago, and Sampson said, "Hey, Ben, that's your kind of player. That's your kind of guy." Like pointed out some guy, and that guy ended up playing. They offered, they looked it up. He'd already had offers from like UConn and somebody else. That player is now on the Iowa team. It is like a 6'8" shooter. And Sampson was the guy. I don't even think Ben McCollum was there recruiting this kid. And Sampson just said to him, "Hey, Ben, that's your kind of guy right there. You ought to look at him." And Ben McCollum did, and that player is on their team now. But this is going to be fun because all those European greats. Now, what's funny is, Kevin, not every kid named Merkowitz or Ivisic is European. Some of these kids, sometimes I assume that, and I'll look them up. It'll be a kid from, the middle of Iowa or Wisconsin, or somewhere in Texas. These kids, because obviously they're descendants of immigrants or European grandparents and that kind of thing. But in the case of Illinois, I do think they bring in some guys, some European players, and I loved that yesterday at a practice, Brad Underwood, their coach, had shoes with the flags of representing where his players were born. And I thought that was kind of neat that he was doing. But, I mean, they're deep. They got Wagler, the freshman. I have a hard time saying that, Kevin, because Wagler, you want to say like Wagler. But I guess people are saying Wagler. He's great. He's an unbelievable player. But again, this is an awesome matchup. I mean, Kevin, I've spent my whole day looking at baseball lineups. Like what time all the baseball games are starting. And I need to look right now and look at these college basketball games tonight. And yes, I will get to the huge college basketball news. Tonight, we've got Texas at Purdue, 6:10 on CBS. On TBS and True TV, Iowa and Nebraska get it on. And then I don't know. I just wish we could find a way. Once you get to Sweet 16, I feel like we ought to be able to stagger these things better. Like I don't want to. I want to watch the entire Arkansas-Arizona game at 8:45. At 9:05 is Illinois-Houston. I mean, these are all like unbelievable games. I would say the only possible blowout. Okay, here I'll say this. This will surprise you, Kevin. I do think Arizona could beat up on Arkansas in the second half. I think there's a possibility that Arizona pulls away from Arkansas. The line on that game is Arizona by 8.5. I think there's a chance Arizona covers that. The other one is Purdue and Texas. Purdue's just a better team. Now, don't forget, just because we know Purdue has some monsters, all those Big Ten teams do. Kevin, is there a short Big Ten team? Like, is there anybody in the Big Ten that you go, oh man, they don't have any height? The Hoosiers? Is that the only team? Because they
tallest guy 6'9". That's it.
They all are big. Well, that sounds like Baylor.
Well, most of those 6'9" guys are now out and gone because they were seniors.
Purdue has better guards than Texas, but Texas has that monster Vokiitis. We just call him Vokie around here. Vokie is how you begin spelling his name. He came from FAU. He's a 7-foot monster with great footwork. He's a flat-out NBA player, all right? But in this modern day of college basketball, players like him can stick around and make $2 or $3 million a year. So why wouldn't you do that? Purdue, again, really good guards, and then the Kaufman. Is it Ren Kaufman? Renly? What's Kaufman? What is that? His name, Kevin? He's a great player for Purdue.
Trey Kaufman-Renn.
Trey Kaufman-Renn.
They just call him TKR.
TKR, man. The guy can play. Get good size, and they'll throw it down to him. That's all at this point. Sometimes you get a team sneak into the Sweet 16. The only one that has possibly you could make the case for sneaking in is either Texas or number 9 Iowa. But the truth is they're both pretty good teams. I would say University of Texas is the worst team in the Sweet 16. And that's not even trying to beat up on them. That's just what's going on. All right, Kev, because we never know when our young man will jump on with us. I promise you, when we get into Campus Confidential, I'll get into this Will Wade business. Unbelievable story that Will Wade is back at LSU. He is the LSU coach again, and this thing is dirty as you would expect from Will Wade. All right? When you have a Will Wade involved, you got some major slime involved. And this goes hand in hand with slime, the way they've done this, okay? I think they just informed the LSU coach that he no longer has a job. I think that was the very last thing they did. They waited till they had all this slime done. So now you have Will Wade, Lane Kiffin, and Kim Mulkey. 3 monster personalities in their own ways, okay? I would say one is just kind of a personality because he's a cheater. That's Will Wade. The other 2 are just great big personalities and characters, and only one of them truly, you would say, is a great coach, and that would be Mulkey. I think the 2 men are still proving themselves in that area. So you go, Mulkey's the best coach, Kiffin, and then Will Wade. All right, but I'd put the baseball coach right after Mulkey. That Jay Johnson, I think's his name. Now he's better coach than the other 2 men. Okay, and then I put the gymnastics coach up there too. He's good. Or I don't know. I'm not sure if I have the gender right on that one. Kev, let's have the great Cole Wilson, the former Baylor Bear wide receiver, joins us next.
At Schmaltz Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
Okay. That was really great for the first time on your own. Let's maybe take a break and then we'll come back and do some more.
Sounds great.
Oh, you're back. That was a fast break.
I know.
Hi, would either of you be able to assist me?
Yes, she'd love to help.
Oh, yes. I love assists.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Bubble wasn't here, I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
It is the Mosley Show. And we got a lot to get to today. We got Sweet 16. We got opening day baseball. We now bring in Cole Wilson, the Baylor Bear wide receiver. There he is. I mean, he just lit the pro day on fire the other day. Cole, welcome to the Mosley Show, man. You're looking clean today. You're looking ready for action. I'm sure that you've been hearing from more and more of these NFL teams. Congrats on a great pro day last week, and thanks for being on the show.
What's going on? Thanks for having me.
I think you only recognize me, Cole, if I put these on right here. Okay, so you're like, okay, now I remember that guy. But boy, how much fun was that the other day, Cole? I was just, I mean, you've had such an interesting journey, and that was just another stop on your journey. But I bet that felt like, hey, the culmination. I mean, of course, wherever you end up, either getting drafted or signing with, that'll be the next big step on the journey. But I guess, how did that performance the other day sort of validate all the work you'd sort of put in leading up to it?
I think it was just, pretty much showing that I can compete no matter my size or anything like that. Like when the lights come on and everybody's out there, I can compete and do better than most people that I'm around. So I feel like, a team willing to take a chance on me, I think what the work that I put in and the work that they see, like they know that it's legit.
And that started back when you were in high school. I know you were a great player outside of Houston. Say your high school for me. Katie, how do you say
Pato.
Pato, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, y'all were on the way to a state title, and again, you've put up numbers everywhere you've been. But did people, was that always, that, well, he's 5'9" or whatever? Is that just always something that you and I guess in some ways over the years, Cole, you've used that to your advantage, haven't you? Does that almost make you outwork other people? Like the fact that maybe you don't fit whatever stereotypical size they're looking for at wide receiver?
Yeah, of course. Even growing up, like I was always the smallest guy, but I was always better than everybody. And that's because of, just my God-given talent. And then I've always had to work harder than everybody because, I wasn't physically, the strongest or the tallest. So I just had to get after it, and I just had to have that dog mentality whenever.
Where did you really start to work in the weight room the most? Was it in high school? Was there one of your stops, Incarnate Word or Texas State, or maybe even when you got to Baylor? But something led to you putting up those 21 reps, which, man, even at the combine, that would have really stood out. And I think you were kind of funny the other day. I think it surprised even you a little bit. But who would you credit for like getting you to really start? Because you obviously had some natural ability. I'm sure you were fast from the time you were a little guy. But when did you start really learning how to reshape your body and put in the work in the weight room?
I think it like the mentality and everything. It kind of started off at Pato, I would say. You know, we ran a college-like program, so everything we did was basically, you know, as far as like taking it serious in the weight room. We did mat drills. We did like, even we were so disciplined, like we couldn't wear visors. We couldn't wear all the crazy stuff. We had to shave before every game. Like it was really ran like a college program. So I think that's what kind of instilled it in me. And then going to college, I say when I got to Incarnate Word, that's when it really kind of started to get serious. You know, seeing all those guys I'm playing with, 23-year-olds, and I'm 18 just coming in there. I'm like, okay, I definitely need to, you know, put on some weight and work out. But I think this last cycle, whenever I was training for Pro Day, it was I don't know, it got serious. Like I'm like, I have to do this. I have to do this. And Zach and Nick over there at Perform in Florida, that's where I train.
Mm-hmm.
They have a good program going over there. And, you know, I think really from high school building all the way up, it was kind of just, you know, it was time for me to go get it.
All right. And who at Incarnate Word, you know, Eric Morris had been there. I mean, Cam Ward comes through there. GJ, follow. It really became kind of a hotbed for these up and coming great offensive type coaches. Who was kind of your first point of contact there, and who kind of started pointing you in the right direction when you got to ICW there?
So I think it was like basically I didn't end up getting my first offer until 3 days before my state game. And then I ended up with 5 offers, and Incarnate Word being my last one. And it was right after state, and Coach Clint Killo, that was like my first person I talked to. I don't even think UIW had a head coach at the time. Like that was when Coach Morris left, and I think he went to Washington State, I want to say. And then Coach Kenny, he wasn't in the building yet. So Coach Killo called my phone, and he was just, you know, telling me that he liked the way I played and everything like that. And I think that was the main person, you know, helping me and guiding me through like to Incarnate Word. And once I got there,
was playing in those state playoffs. I mean, that's got to be great memories. So that's interesting that even though you'd put up big numbers, it took a while for somebody to finally make that commitment. And then of course, that's what's interesting now about all this portal stuff. You keep getting re-recruited. Going to Texas State, what about that stop for you? What did you learn there, and who was really instrumental in your career at that stop?
So, you know, going to Texas State, I was already familiar with all of my coaches because that was the staff from Incarnate Word.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of players go there as well. So I feel like it taught me a lot. It definitely taught me how to, you know, it was a step up from Incarnate Word. And I feel like it taught me how to play outside as well, because normally I've been playing slot receiver. You know, high school, I played everything, but high school is, you know, a little easy. So I get to college, I played slot receiver. And then when I got to Texas State, I switched over to play outside because I already knew the playbook. Everyone else that was at Texas State had to learn the playbook that I've been using already. So I kind of learned how to, you know, be a little more versatile, play the outside position. And then that I played outside for the 2 years that I was there. And, you know, I had Coach Kenny, of course, Coach Stutz, Coach Morris, like a lot of those guys, you know, help shape the man that I am.
All right, and then you get to Baylor, and you and Sawyer hook up. When's the first time you remember meeting him? And did you guys just have an immediate connection? And like, how much? Just seems like he's a guy that loves kind of gathering and bringing guys together and that kind of thing. Y'all had a pretty crowded room, but you ended up quickly carving out a place for it because Ashton was coming back. So you had 2 Texas State studs among all those. You got Prentice coming in. One guy, I guess Lewis, ends up redshirting. But like, what led to you kind of having that breakout season with Sawyer, and like, how quickly did you make that connection with him?
So when you first say that, the first thing that comes to my mind, I believe it was, I think we were just about to, we hadn't started school yet, but I think we all transferred, like we transferred there. And I think I was still in Houston at the time. And, you know, I was at home, and I guess they were talking about like, you know, going to the indoor and throwing. And so they were texting the group chat, and they were like, I think Sawyer was like, yeah, Kobe's coming up here to throw and whatnot at like, I think it was like 8 p.m. And at this point it was like 5 in Houston. And I'm like, oh yeah, bet. I'm coming right now. Like I'm coming up there right now. So I packed up the bags real quick and got on 99 and went straight to Waco. Like, I'm like, Mama, I'll see you later. Like I'll be back, but I'm about to go to Waco and throw. So I think that kind of like shows the mentality that I have and that all the guys had. Like Kobe was already there, ready to throw. So I feel like pretty much throughout that whole week and just really throughout the whole off season, throughout the whole year, like we were just throwing the ball like in the indoor, just trying to get connected before we even started the off season, really.
You've mentioned that Dallas and Keenan and were, you know, in your message when you announced you were declaring for the draft, you know, obviously had an impact on you. Dallas is a guy who played in the NFL and played at a high level at Florida. What are the biggest things you took from him? And I would imagine, you know, certainly he helped you with route running, but no, you know, just seeing how Dallas is on social media, I'm sure there was some spiritual connection there as well. What were the biggest things you learned from Dallas and maybe Keenan?
I think really just, you know, I learned a lot from them, and I think it was more like you always learn a lot of good things as far as on the field, especially because, you know, he played ball at the highest level, but I think it was the off the field things that, you know, stuck with me a lot. You know, most coaches, or I'm not gonna say most, but some coaches, you know, you kind of just do a lot of football stuff, but he's worried about you as a man as well, you know, building you into the best man that you could be, the best brother you can be, the best friend, the best father, whatever that may be. So, and I think that ties into the spirituality as well, you know. And so a lot of times we just have a lot of talks about anything. Like we have weekly meetings where we may not even talk about football. You know, he want to know how you're doing as a person and what can he help with. So I feel like that's what makes, you know, Coach Baker the coach that he is, and Coach Hall as well. Like I talk to Coach Hall a lot, even, you know, coming up with the recruiting and things like that. That was one of the first people that I talked to. So, yeah.
Cole, who do you like to watch in the NFL? Do you have one or two favorite receivers, or is there anybody that you watch and you go, he's kind of a little bit like what I want to do, or maybe built like me a little bit? Who do you like to watch?
I like to watch Zay Flowers and Tank Dell. I feel like those are two dynamic receivers right now that we're kind of built the same, and they're making plays at the highest level. And then, like, I always like watching Chad Ochocinco. Like, just growing up, I don't know, it's just something about him, like the fire that he plays with and the energy. I love that. So really, those guys right there.
You know, people are really enjoying talking about you coming off that pro day. You 38.5-inch vertical. You told me afterwards that you really thought you could do 40. Your 40-yard dash was somewhere around 4:35. I mean, that, so you didn't really surprise yourself. I think the only time you surprised yourself was maybe on the bench, right? When you did 21.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I love what you said. Adrenaline in the Lord, I think, is what you credited for going on. Like, but what was that like to have your teammates, knowing all those scouts were in there? Did you almost have one of those like maybe that happens before a game moments, or what was kind of going through your mind as you got ready to go to the bench? Because people just don't. A guy of your stature, they don't expect you to put up. How much do you weigh, by the way?
I weighed in at 177.
177. So you put up 225 21 times, which is kind of awe-inspiring. But what was kind of going through, and what kind of gave you that juice to perform like that at Pro Day?
I think just attacking it. Like, I feel like I've been training for this my whole life. And I know for me, like a lot of people, when people are around, they get kind of nervous. But for me, it kind of like fires me up. Like, I love to see, the scouts and all the personnel, the coaches, and then my brothers behind me. Like, as I'm getting on the bench and, getting, unracking the weight, I can hear them talking behind me. Like, we feed off of each other. We feed off of each other all the time. So I feel like just hearing all of that and then just attacking the weight, like I said, I've always been the smallest guy. So, every time I have to do anything, normally they're gonna be bigger than me. And so the weight, that's no different. Like, I'm getting under there and I'm trying to get it.
Yeah. Although the offensive linemen that had trouble doing that much, they probably felt a little bad. Where did the nickname, Dallas calls you guys the Goons, I think it is. What does that mean? Like, what do you think being a goon is about?
It's pretty much just like a lifestyle. Like, it's like a lifestyle. Like, we call ourselves the Goons, and that's something we take pride in. Like, we're very smart, very intelligent. We play hard, great people, things like that. And to be a part of the Goons, you have to act a certain way. You have to carry yourself a certain way. And when you get on that field, like, you about straight business. It's nothing soft about us, nothing like that. We just playing hard 24/7 and off the field, great people.
All right. Tell me what you think. You be a scout for a minute. Those guys that are following you now, Taz, Jaden, some of those other names. Lewis obviously didn't end up playing or redshirted last year. Which of those guys to you, because you're around those guys, or Porter and those guys in practice every day, who do you think's ready to inherit from you and Ashton and the guys next season for Baylor?
Really, like, the room is still deep. Like, the room is still deep. They do a great job at recruiting and bringing those guys in. Like, first guy, Lewis, like you said, we saw some sparks from him. And, like you said, the room was deep. But actually, I just saw they posted something. When was the first day of practice? Yesterday or the day?
Yeah, just the last couple of days.
Lewis making a great grab. Like, it's some things that maybe y'all haven't seen yet, but this season, like, Lewis has it all. I'm telling you, he has it all. Taz, like, he's coming in fresh off a knee injury, but like, he's getting back to 100%, and he may be at 100% right now. But even last year, like, he was one of those guys who never even ended up on the scout team. Like, we can't even, he's over here with us, learning from us, and he's making plays. Like, we're like, yeah, Taz is definitely going to be one of those guys for sure. And then Jaden, I said in an interview before, like, Jaden, he's going to go to the league. Like, I have no doubts about it. Jaden, he's like, I don't know, he's just different. That's all I can say. Jaden is different. He played, like, the way that he plays, and, he also has the size. And the way that he moves for his size, like, it's just a different play style. So I feel like a lot of those guys in the room, MJ, Like, and then I saw they brought in some transfers as well, you know. But I'm expecting big things out of all of those guys.
Yeah, they're trying to replace you because they got Gavin Freeman, Draylon. Like, I noticed one of those guys I think is about your size, 5'9", and they need somebody that can kind of do it all. By the way, did you grow up a Texans fan, living in the Houston area, or are you more a fan? Were you a big Texans fan?
Yeah, I grew up liking the Texans. Yeah, I've been to a lot of Texans games.
Who was your favorite player?
When I liked Arian Foster. I liked Arian Foster when he played. I liked Andre Johnson when he played, for sure.
I was trying to remember who Andre got in a fight with that time.
Cortland Finnegan.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finnegan used to play for the Titans, and yeah, that was some real stuff that occurred out there. Well, you'll be happy to know I've already heard from one Cowboy scout who has, and you may have met him the other day, but boy, he really thinks highly of you. And so, well, it's funny because some of those scouts, they want to play it pretty close to the vest, and they don't want to let everybody know what they're thinking. But just know, Cole, that you got some admirers out there, and one of them actually is with the Cowboys. What do you do until the draft now? Do you have you heard from anybody or anything? Do you have anything lined up or any interviews, or are you just going to kind of just be ready and end up wherever you go?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is just, being ready, and just keeping my faith in God. I know that his plan is already written for me. So, I've heard from a couple teams, and I think that I'm gonna just be ready at all times. I'm gonna just continue to work out and just be here with my family. Like, I'm a family guy, so I'm not really doing too much. Just chill with my parents, my cousins, and things like that. Wake up, go train in the morning, and just make sure, like, if I receive a call, I'm ready to, whether that's drive down the road and go see the Texans or take a flight and go see the Falcons. Like, I'm ready at all times.
All right. And how did you end up with Ben Thomas, your agent? Is that someone you've known for a few years now, or how did that come about? Because he's had an interesting career. I was noticing he had been at a university as like a personnel kind of guy, or maybe coaching, and now he's in the I guess on the agent side. How did that come about?
So basically, I was looking for an agent, and my trainer, Margin Hooks, kind of connected us because I know that Margin has a lot of connections, and he's, trained top guys. He's trained, he's really kind of built us up and he knows a lot of people. So I called him, and he said he's been knowing Ben for a long time, great guy, and he can kind of get us connected. So I started talking to Ben, and immediately, like, I kind of felt, he's a genuine guy. I know in this profession, that with the agents and just football in general, like, there's a lot of grimy people out here, and they might not have your best interest in mind, or things like that. But Ben and Goal Line, which is the agency, I just felt, I'm real big on energy, and I can feel it, with different people, and I felt a genuine energy with him. Great guy. I felt like he had my best interest in mind. So we just went through that whole process, and I just felt like, that was the agent for me.
By the way, did you miss TJ Finley by a year, or did you ever play with him or not?
TJ my sophomore year, my sophomore year at Texas State.
Okay. So you remember, you were part of that group that beat the Bears, unfortunately. You're smiling thinking back about that. That was not a pleasant day for Bears fans, but I'm sure you noticed, but TJ Finley, who was going to be on his either 7th or 8th school, just finally declared for the draft yesterday. Yeah. So it's an interesting path that he's taken, but boy, I'll tell you one thing, y'all were that was a scary team. Y'all had a lot of weapons, and he knew how to distribute it. So that was really good. Cole, I appreciate this. That was fun seeing you at Pro Day the other day. That was a great performance. By the way, have you been dunking like since you were like junior high or high school?
Yeah, I can dunk. I started dunking. I think I got my first dunk my senior year of high school, I believe. Either my senior year of high school. I know for sure I was dunking freshman year of college.
Yeah.
Yeah, either senior year or freshman year of college. Yeah, I'm windmilling and everything.
Who is the best hoops guy, would you say, on the Baylor football team? Who's the best basketball player?
That's a great question right there. We hooped a couple times. Who would I say? Josh Cameron he's a good hooper. Josh is a great hooper. Trigg is a good hooper. I'm trying to think of who's the best though. I'm not sure if I could give it the best because I didn't hoop too many times when I got to Baylor.
Yeah.
But you know who can hoop? TJ Finley.
Oh, really?
Hooper. Like real deal can hoop. We used to hoop all the time at Texas State.
And he's like 6'7", isn't he? Or 6'6"?
6'7",
oh my
whatever.
Gosh.
And he's playing guard. He's bringing the ball up the court. Like I'm like TJ, swing the pill and go get a rebound. No,
yeah.
I'm trying to size you up and pull it from deep.
They should have gotten him to play hoops there. He might have stuck around a little bit longer. But well, Cole, I appreciate it, man, and best of luck. And we'll be tracking where you end up. And the good news is there's a lot of sort of Baylor people in the NFL, and they've kind of spread out. There's one particular guy that you probably haven't even heard of named Jeff Ireland, who's the assistant general manager for the New Orleans Saints. He's always looking out for Baylor players. So I think you'll end up in a great place. But all you need is an opportunity, and then you can do the rest. So, boy, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
You bet. There he goes, Cole Wilson, on the Matt Mosley Show, and really fun stuff. He lit it up at the Baylor Pro Day and turned a lot of heads. And as I was talking about it, I know one of the Cowboy scouts is a longtime friend of mine, and he's already saying, that's my guy. I love this. I love Cole Wilson. So we'll see where he ends up in the draft. But no matter what, he's going to get an opportunity. And I expect him, much like he's done his whole college career, to take full advantage of that. All right, Kev, let's do some Campus Confidential. And we've got huge Sweet 16 matchups tonight. And then we got a massive story in college basketball as Will Wade has gone back to LSU. That is next.
Lake Waco Golf Club is a semi-private facility nestled along the north point of Lake Waco, one of the few facilities in Texas to have a full 18-hole regulation golf course as well as an executive 18-hole par 3 golf course. Plus, check out their bar and grill, which is open to the public. And if you're not a golfer, then enjoy time by the pool or even enjoy fishing around Lake Waco. Become a member today and call to book your tee time. Lake Waco Golf Club, where family and friends fun begins. Check them out at lakewacogc.com for more information.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
whypersonalloans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit personalloans.com today.
This is what $500,000 in a duffel bag looks like. Actually not real. That's because it's actually prop money. It looks realistic from a distance, but up close you can see it says for motion picture purposes. Visit propmoney.com today to get your money seen or money shot right with Prop Money Inc.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
It is the Matt Mosley Show, and back at it. And, man, lots going on. Thank you, Central National Bank, for what you do. Our presenting sponsor, our unbelievable presenting sponsor, Brian Fonville, Joe Nesbitt, the entire family. Thank you, Alan Samuels. Oh, been looking at some of those new deals. In fact, Ted Teague, the GM, yesterday was his birthday. I was just reaching out to him earlier today. And then Lake Waco Golf Club. We've enjoyed talking about Lake Waco Golf Club. Today is Thursday, Kev. So I think we need to do like either a baseball or college basketball related Schmaltz trivia question. And I'll come up with something pretty good. I'll see what I can come up with. I'll make it fairly easy. Right now. All right. Let's, Kev, while we're getting ready to do Campus Confidential here, let's go ahead and do our Schmaltz's trivia question. Who has, and Scotty, if you're out there, there's somebody I owe a couple of sandwiches. I promise you, I'm going to take care of you and we'll get this all sorted out. All right. But, and I love the new Schmaltz's trivia, the Schmaltz's commercials that we're running. But this Trivia Thursday, this is how you win 2 free sandwiches to Schmaltz's. That great bread. And those new commercials, Kev, you can see how they're making the dough and how awesome that is. Here's my question. Who right now has the longest running streak of Sweet 16s currently? Not all-time longest. I'm saying who currently, and so that includes somebody, one of the 16 teams playing in the Sweet 16. And I'll even help you a little more. They are playing tonight. They're playing today. All right. We got 4 games beginning at 6 o'clock, and they'll be going till late tonight, till about 11. We got 4 games taking place in the Sweet 16 today, and one of the teams that has the current best Sweet 16 streak. Just give me the team. That's all I'm looking for. Not very hard. This one should be pretty easy for my listeners, okay? And most of my listeners know how huge I am into the Sweet 16, like how I think, like when you're talking about like the greatest coaches and stuff, I think how many these coaches that get these amazing Sweet 16 streaks, I have them way up there. One of them that had them did not make it this year, Sweet 16, but they went to like 9 straight, and I think that's unbelievable. And that's Mark Few at Gonzaga. I just think the world of those coaches that somehow do it every year because it's dang hard. The Bears won a national title in 2021. Have they been back to the Sweet 16 since then? The answer is no. Are there reasons for that? Sure. They were a number 1 seed the next year and they got beat in the second round. It's hard. It's very, very hard to do these things. All right. Bears will be back. We had a really good session with Scott Drew yesterday. In fact, Kevin, we might utilize that tomorrow. Now that I think about it, golly, man, that was the feedback and that we've gotten on that interview with Scott Drew is such that we might need to play some of that tomorrow. So let's keep that in mind. Perhaps in the 2:00 hour tomorrow to utilize some of that. All right, so there's your trivia question. Ascension, look at that, Kevin. They're getting a little play there. They were with us for a good number of months. They were with me for years. We need to get them back on. But that was thanks to Kevin Stevenson, my great friend. And in fact, Kevin's getting ready tomorrow to go out to that the big Baylor track meet. I think that's the Clyde Hart. I think that's named after the late great Coach Hart, and they're having that, I believe, this weekend. And I think Kevin was heading out there. But Kevin was a top executive, a very big executive at Ascension Providence, and that is how Ascension Providence became part of the Mosley Show. All right, that's what I try to do, Kevin. I just bring all my friends on, and generally it works out pretty well. All right, Kev, let's do some Campus Confidential. And to do that, we bring on the man we call Kevin Hoosier Hall. Also, he's a part-time Jaguar. He spent a little time with Jaguars.
I'm actually got my IUPUI shirt on today.
How do you say it? What is it?
IUPUI. So, and actually, technically now it is only Indiana University in Indianapolis. IU kind of took over. It was already that way, but it's the only place where you can, and I did this, get an IU degree and a Purdue degree at the same campus. I got an Indiana University degree that I showed you, and I got a certificate because I took a few Purdue classes while I was there.
But now I remember the reason I started knowing that place is because they made the NCAA tournament one year, maybe more than 1 year, but there was one particular year I kind of remember them.
Yes, there was 1 year, the George Hill year, where they did really amazing, much not quite as good record-wise as Miami this year, but they didn't make it to the tournament because they didn't win their conference tournament.
George Hill, who used to play for the Spurs and then ended up with the Pacers at some point.
Yeah. I think he came back to the Spurs at some point.
But he was involved in a trade that's always been amazing to me. George Hill was somehow involved in a trade, either in that somehow resulted in Paul George being with the Pacers, or maybe it was him coming to the Pacers and it somehow resulted in Kawhi ending up getting drafted by the Spurs. George Hill has some involvement in one of those things. I just can't think of it. Yeah.
I think that kind of makes
There's
sense in the
some George Hill tie in there.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, Pop loved him. Pop truly loved him. And somehow losing George Hill was very, very tough on him. But I think that may have led to them drafting Kawhi, which ended up being a great thing. Yeah.
And George was an Indianapolis kid, played his high school basketball, all grew up in Indianapolis. So, yeah.
All right, sir. Let's do some Campus Confidential. What do you have for me?
Pete Nakos from On3 reported that the Sweet 16 rosters range from $4.5 million to over $10 million. Do you think that is why they are there? Is the money? How much of the money do you think influenced them being there?
Wait, the Sweet 16 teams?
Yes.
First of all, wouldn't you love to know like
which is where
BYU's. Because I
Oh.
mean, it doesn't guarantee you success. They spent $7 million on DeBonsa, $3 million on Rob Wright, the third. That's $10 million on 2 players. Now you know they also spent at least probably $3 million on the rest, so that's $13 million. I mean, like I think BYU put more into their roster than any team in the country. We also found out recently that Indiana, from an operational budget standpoint, poured a massive amount, not this past year, but the year before, into its operational budget. That came in at $32 million. Somebody actually did the homework and looked it up. This isn't like fake stuff. I think that where it plays a role, I think what you see is at the Big Ten level, they're all in the same ballpark. I don't think like Michigan is playing at a whole different NIL level than Illinois. And quite honestly, while they might be ahead of Iowa, Iowa has some NIL money. So what you're telling me is, did it say it? Did it, whatever you're seeing this number, did it say who was on the low end of the Sweet 16? Because we remember Houston trying to say they were poor. Right. I don't know if that's totally accurate, but Kelvin Sampson said recently that he tried to make the case that Houston was one of the poorest Power 4 programs in the country.
Yeah, I didn't see where they landed.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think Kingston Flemings and Sanok were showing up for nothing. All right, I don't think it was like, hey guys, we can give you about 50,000. Oh, okay. I did hear the story. Interestingly, I'm glad you brought that up, Kevin. So, to answer your question, I just think a lot of them are kind of there in the same ballpark. Like, for instance, 2 years ago when Baylor brought in Norchad O'Meara and Jeremy Roach and VJ Edgecombe, like, I think Baylor was punching pretty high. I mean, I think Baylor absolutely had top 20 NIL money. Now, this last year, when they missed out on Rob, or Rob left, or whatever he did, and then they had to go get Obi and Ratai and these people, I don't think Baylor was in the top 20 or top 25 of spending. So they got to get back up to that level, and I think they will. But also, I don't think it's fair. I think a lot of times Baylor would like to, and I'm not saying Scott has said this to me, but I do think Baylor or other schools like Baylor go, well, look at Tech. Look at Tech. They've got way more money than us. And that might be true. But you still have to then, like Atwell, Lawan Watts, Toppin before them. I mean, you gotta hit on these picks. Darian the year before, the guy who went to NC State, that was a great hit. They hit on that kid. And he ended up probably thinking too highly of himself, and I'm sure Will Wade got him some money. Here's what I was going to tell you. This tells you how crazy NIL has gotten. When Georgia Tech won the ACC tournament with Josh Pastner a few years ago, they had some pretty good players, okay? And Josh Pastner told a story the other day. I thought this was an interesting story, that he tried to get Georgia Tech to all he had to do to keep the defensive player of the year and this other kid who was just great, really good player, 2 players. All he had to do to keep them in school, $75,000 a player. $75,000 a player. And Georgia Tech said, sorry, no, and wouldn't do it. And they lost them both. They lost both players. So that shows you, man. I think we think that now, of course, he said those same players would get whatever, $300K or $500K. But it just shows you how it's gone from kind of reasonable type money to just craziness. And so Baylor, and Scott was nice to not make it about certain players, But if you whiff on a Michael Rataj, and somebody said to me something that made sense, you still have to sometimes put it on the player too. Like, he averaged 17 points a game at Oregon State. How are we to know he was going to be awful at Baylor? Did Baylor not know how to coach him? I don't think so. I don't think they forgot how to coach. But I'm saying sometimes when these players bust out, and when I say bust out, I mean it in a wrong way, in a bad way.
Yeah.
You do have to put something on the player. Like, Jeremy Roach was a captain and put up good numbers on like a Final Four Duke team. Like, how was Baylor to know he was going to be horrible at Baylor and not care and play golf all the time and get a concussion and not try to come back from it? You know, Baylor just ended up with some weird stories. I mean, Langston Love was a heck of a player. So this year, when Langston finally left Baylor and he went to Georgetown, I was like, okay, how'd Langston do at Georgetown? I think he played in like 7 games or something. Like, he just, you know, Langston was a unbelievable athlete, and he had a lot of ability, but the mental side or something wasn't there. It's very, very unfortunate. All right, what else do you have for me, sir?
All right, what do you think of this ranking of the Sweet 16 coaches?
All right, I want to take a peek at this because I purposely did not look this up because I wanted to come at this kind of with a clean Mosley eyes. Oh, and even with my glasses. Sir, who did this graphic? This was the I think the font is a little bit lacking here. Either that or my eyes are failing me. Okay. Okay, who did this?
Let me look on the actual.
Okay, I just want to know. Okay, like who we're
throwing under the bus.
Yeah.
It is Dan Tracy from SN Sports Network.
Sporting News, probably.
Sporting. There you go.
Okay. Let me tell you I already see some unfair things. No matter what you think of him, you have to honor the career of Calipari and what he's done. And so he's too far down. I see that immediately. You know, that's a very silly thing to put Sean Miller last. I mean, Sean Miller, for his cheating ways, and he was right there with Will Wade being recorded.
You got to put somebody last.
And all that. I know. But I'm saying I reward the dudes on this board who have had success in the tournament year in, year out. Sean Miller's probably now been to like 8 or 9 Sweet 16s. There's no way he's last place. So I'll just work from the end. And of course, Painter, for a long time, it was held against him for having really great teams, but not doing well in the tournament. And he finally made the Final Four, and he certainly has a chance to get back. So I do think he's changed the narrative a little bit. But Purdue fans were pretty much sick of him, even like 3 years ago, for not living up to having these great teams and not backing it up with the runs.
Being one of the few 1 seeds to get beat by a 16 will do that.
I think I probably would put you know how much I love Sampson, but I think I would put Patino on top. I think Izzo's too low, so I would put Patino 1, Izzo 2. I would penalize Sampson just a little bit for his cheating and all that stuff in the past. I would put Sampson 3. Dusty's too high. I mean, I think he's great and he got FAU there, but he hadn't done it sustained level of success. He hasn't done it long enough to be up there as high as he is. So I would not have him at number 3. So I would bump Dusty down, and I would put Hurley ahead of him. So I would say Hurley's about where he deserves to be. I would put Sampson 3, Izzo 2. Well, whatever I just said. Sampson, yeah. I think that Tommy Lloyd is a great coach, but he hasn't had his sustained tournament success happened when he was an assistant at Gonzaga. You've got to do it as a head coach. He does not have some long sustained success as a head coach of Arizona. It's not really his fault. He just hadn't been there long enough. So I would bump him down, and I would bump. I think Shire's probably too low because I think Shire's already shown that he can get it done in the tournament.
That's the one that sticks out to me.
Yeah. I think Barnes seems too low. So here's who I would put down here are the worst coaches. Let's do it that way. Let's make it easy. Right. Because you have to sort of do it by what level of success these guys have had in the tournament. So I would kick Hoiberg down to last place. I would keep Underwood down there because as much as I have respect for him, it's not like he's had sustained like huge success in the tournament. And as much as I love Otzelberger, I got to bump him down too because, I mean, he's relatively new to Sweet 16s and success in the tournament. So I think he's great. So I would push Lloyd, Otzelberger, Brad is already down there, and I would push Fred down there, and I would move Sean up to where like Calipari is, and I would move Calipari up too. And I would put Calipari and Sean ahead of Painter. Just based on success in the tournament. Now, Ben McCollum's way too high here. So as much as I've been bragging on him like crazy. What has he done in the tournament? I mean, he's got the Sweet 16 now. How far did he get Drake? I don't know that he got Drake.
He was only there for 1 year.
At Drake?
Yeah.
All right. Well, he's got to be down. So anyway, I don't think this was that well thought out because I had an easy time immediately switching this whole thing around and moving people to where I think they deserve. And Calipari, again, I put him after Sampson, Patino, Hurley, Izzo, but he's right after them. I put him right after that. So he's about fifth. He's down there too low. Yeah. Okay. All right. Did anything stand out to you?
The one that stood out to me was John Shire being too low. I agree. Calipari also too low, but I don't know if it's maybe a few spots up. And then Painter, I think, just because of his lack of success in the tournament. Getting there, yes, but kind of his teams come in with a lot of hype and don't execute very well in the tournament. So,
I mean, what's funny is I was going to look up real quick Calipari Sweet 16s.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Let's see. I don't know how many he's had vacated.
Yeah. Which wouldn't be the case now.
As of March 2026, so I think they're counting this latest one. 17 Sweet 16 appearances. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, people can hate him and I get it and all that, but give me a break. 17 Sweet 16s. Get out of here. In fact, I could make a case for him over Sampson. I really could. I could make a case for him above. I just think Patino, and he can do it anywhere. What's the old Bum Phillips line? He can take Hizen and outcoach Yersin, and he can take Yersin and outcoach Hizen or something. It was like an old country saying. And that's Patino. Patino, he doesn't matter what age he is, any era, he's going to be awesome. And then he went to wherever he was. Where was he before he went to St. John's? He went to like Akron or somewhere, or started with an A, didn't it? Wherever he was, it was just like, or Siena, wherever he went, it was just like they were immediately really good, just because it's freaking Patino.
Yeah.
And the players are going to follow him. And then the scary thing is you match Patino's coaching with a bunch of NIL money, and he's the new Larry Brown. Larry was a guy that you could parachute anywhere, and he was probably going to end up being great. And he finally got too old. But Larry, at about Patino's age, went to SMU, and just his very presence on campus made SMU basketball a thing.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, you talk about a guy who knew when to get out of town. This Andy Enfield, the SMU basketball coach, you want to get out of USC post Bronny, that was a good time to get out of there. Now Coach Musselman, USC is a bad, you would think it would be a great job. It's a very bad NCAA basketball job. In fact, it's not even top 20.
Yeah. All right. It is time to get picks from you for tonight's Sweet 16 matchup, starting with Texas and Purdue. Purdue is somewhere between a 6.5, 7.5 point favorite.
Give me the Boilermakers.
All right. I figured that would be headed that way. And then the all Big Ten matchup. You have 4 Big Ten teams of the 6 left all tonight. Iowa and Nebraska. Nebraska is a 1.5 to 2.5 point favorite. It's kind of surprised me it was that low, but
well, I just think they know that. It's not like Nebraska has way more talent than Iowa. What they will have is more fans. These people have. That's been one of the huge stories of the NCAA tournament. They travel. It's an unbelievable. We've known it's an unbelievable fan base. Like, they fill up the entire stadium when they do that outdoor volleyball.
Right.
for the women there at
It's
Nebraska.
like 80,000 people.
Correct. That place may hold even more than that now. But this is I have to think through this real quick. Even though I would put, I don't know, it's kind of disrespectful to Hoiberg to say McCollum's a better coach, because Hoiberg's done it longer at a higher level. But I kind of think that. For some reason, I have a little more trust in McCollum than I do the mayor. It's probably unfair. It's totally unfair. This one's difficult. I'm going to go with the pedigree of Iowa. And I'm not even saying they've had that much unbelievable success under McCaffrey in the tournament, but they certainly have had more than Nebraska over the years. Give me Iowa to cover, Iowa to win.
All right.
Even with all the hardest part for me there is I do know those Nebraska fans are going to be going crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
but
true.
Andy still almost beat them, even with them taking over that arena.
Yep. All right. Maybe the matchup of the evening, we will see. Arizona and Arkansas. Arizona is a 7.5 point favorite in this one.
See, the one you'll get to next, I think
it's a toss-up between these last two.
Of the night. But this is fun because you have such different styles. I do think Arkansas wins the battle at point guard because of Acuff Jr., but well, I know, but it's not as clear-cut as you would think, because the Big 12 Player of the Year was the Arizona point guard. Mm-hmm. He's really, really good. Think about that. He got that award over Kingston Flemings and some of those other greats. I mean, Toppin would have been in the middle of it if not for what happened to him. Man, I'm just trying to think I think Arizona has too many weapons because you got Koa. But I mean, this is an awesome matchup. I do think Arkansas covers the 8.5. I think Arkansas covers the spread, but give me Arizona to win this game. Too many, just monsters. I mean, they come at you from every possible way, and it's like they had that one guy that left. I think it's the guy that went to UNC, and then they got Krivos, who's another monster, great defender, can score when he needs to. I mean, that's what Baylor needs to look into. Why do some of these schools, maybe it's just as simple as money, but why can't Baylor get these great bigs? They did get a freshman big a couple of years ago in Eve Meesey. That was 3 years ago now. But why can't they do it? Okay, what do you got here?
Then the next one, last one that you said was the matchup of the night is Illinois-Houston. Houston is a 2.5-point favorite.
Houston 2.5 over the Illini, and we have to factor in home court advantage. The Cougs will try to take over the Toyota Center right down the road from their campus. It really comes down to, I think, rarely will I say this, but I think Illinois, from a player standpoint, is just as stacked as Houston. So Houston does not have more horses than Illinois, but they do have the better head coach, and they are at home. Give me the Cougs to cover, the Cougs obviously to win.
All right. Well, there you go. That's the matchups for the evening. 4 more to happen tomorrow. We'll see what happens in that. I left Will Wade all for you after the break. You can get into whatever you want.
One of the most remarkable stories we've seen, and we saw this crazy UNC and that opening, but when it comes to LSU, nobody does it crazier, and they've decided to go back and get very, very sleazy. LSU hires a new men's basketball coach, and it's a familiar face and name. That is next.
The selection here at Allen Samuels is great. They have a wide selection of vehicles. They go anywhere from a car to an SUV to a truck. I'm more of a car person myself. That's why I got the Chrysler 300 last. But my wife is looking for an SUV, which they have a lot of choices at. Anybody that's looking for a vehicle, I would recommend Allen Samuels.
Like Allen Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
At Schmaltz Sandwich Shop, we don't just make sandwiches, we build them with fresh ingredients, bold flavors, and homemade baked bread every single day. Toasty on the outside, goodness on the inside. Schmaltz Sandwich Shop in Waco is locally owned and operated since 1975 with 2 locations in Waco, Town West off Valley Mills and downtown off 5th Street. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or just a craving, we got the perfect bite waiting for you.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit opengoaalusa.com and elevate your training today.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
The Mosley Show continues. And, oh, man, had a good Campus Confidential. We had Cole Wilson on, the Baylor wide receiver, earlier today. We'll let you go here in about 15 minutes because we've got to go watch opening day baseball. And it just brings on a lot of nostalgia, a lot of fun over the years. I'll go to the Rangers home opener. Today is the season opener, and that happens against the Phillies. And Kev, let's look at that lineup real quick again for the Rangers. They're rolling out there. Nasty Nate on the mound, and it's going to be an interesting day at Citizens Ballpark there in South Philly as the Rangers come in. And then, Kevin, take a peek, if you would, for me at the Phillies lineup here in a minute. And just, you don't have to put it up there, but just take a peek and let me know where Adolis Garcia is batting in the lineup. Crazy to think. World Series postseason hero for the Rangers 2023. He now plays for the Philadelphia Phillies. Life moves on. So do baseball players. It's tough. Andrew McCutchen 3 weeks ago doesn't have a job. Doesn't know if his career's maybe ended. Just trying to keep himself in shape. Comes to the Rangers, spring training, crushes the baseball. Obviously, the Rangers had that horrible deal they did with Jock Peterson, and what an embarrassment it's been. And McCutchen batting fifth as the DH for the Rangers. Jake Berger at first base batting cleanup. This is not exactly the way you would draw it up. That to me does not. Now, Nimmo will be interesting. He has been in his past a really fine leadoff hit on base guy. Last year, I think he got a little pop in his bat and he hit 25 home runs. We shall see. And then Wyatt Langford, Seager. It's an uneven, not great looking lineup. I would say, if Young bounces back this year, he's always an injury risk. Josh Smith is pretty reliable. But again, nothing about that lineup would strike fear in anybody except the pitcher. Nate Eovaldi is Nasty Nate will get the job done. And the Rangers' top four pitchers stack up pretty well with almost any team in baseball. The Dodgers are always just going to money whip everybody. It's not even fair. But the Rangers have put together a nice starting rotation.
Garcia,
Kev, what do you have for us?
Is batting sixth.
Hitting sixth for the Phillies. against the old Texas Rangers. And so there you go. Interesting stuff going on. Like there's a Dallas area mall that's being demolition is underway, and the Stars are thinking about where their next arena is going to be, and the Dallas City Council were wearing Stars colors together and try to honor them. So obviously they want to try to keep them in Dallas. The Mavericks are going to have a new arena. We'll see where that's built. There, some people want to tear down City Hall and build the Mavericks arena right there. Mavericks news coming out today that the Mavericks have hired a new chief financial officer, new CFO amid the pursuit of a new arena. Kieran Kelleher, who spent 12 years with the Chicago Bulls, says he's honored to join the Mavericks at this critical juncture. He will report directly to CEO Rick Welts. Said in a statement he is, quote, honored to join the Mavericks to help continue the winning culture of investing in our fan base and employee experience. So we'll see. Right now, Welts told the Morning News recently that they've narrowed their focus to 2 locations for an arena in Dallas. Those locations are downtown. That would be probably on the site of where City Hall sits now in downtown Dallas. And then the Valley View property, which has been just a mess for many, many years. Valley View was an old mall. Not far from the Galleria at the corner of like Preston and 635. Somewhere maybe up there around Montfort. Anyway, that's where that is. So they're looking at where to do that. They prepare to leave the AAC, the American Airlines. We get new writers to Dallas Morning News, and they don't even know like what to call the arena. They're calling it the American Airlines Arena, but that's actually the place in Miami. That's not where the Mavericks and the Stars play. That's the AAC. Come on now. If you're going to break news, let's have the name of the actual arena, for goodness sakes. So there you go. That would be at Preston Road and 635, 110-acre site, the Valley View location. So that's kind of interesting. Kev, we had breaking news earlier today in college basketball. We're getting ready for all these college games tonight. It's going to be very exciting. I'll be watching all the weekend from Tried Dad's weekend in College Station. I'm going to go hang out with my daughter. We're going to have a big time there in College Station with my Aggie, my freshman Aggie. Still crazy to say, but that is what had happened. Kevin, let's do the breaking news sounder because this news rocked all of college basketball. All right, there it is. And by the way, Kevin, 9-5, Mets up on the Pirates as we speak. Rangers getting ready for first pitch at 3:15.
I'm watching it.
Okay, good.
I watched it all unfold.
Amid outfield miscues, it said the Pirates pulled a shaky Skeens. Ugh, what an embarrassment. I can't believe in Campus Confidential you didn't bring up your buddy Signetti. But here we go. LSU, and this is as described by ESPN, the clumsy courtship, but they've brought Will Wade back to campus. Will Wade, who they had folks wearing wires. They had the feds were after Arizona and LSU men's basketball. Sean Miller and Will Wade. Will Wade, I don't think he ever had anything happen to him. They may have put a show cause thing on him for like a year or something. It wasn't a big deal. They got hired at McNeese State. Then LSU started doing what only LSU can do. They got the new president at LSU is from McNeese State. Then they got the AD at McNeese State to come and be a part of their group there in an attempt to lure Will Wade back to campus. LSU has been pretty horrible at men's basketball for a lot of years since Dale Brown left. But from 2017 to 2022, they were pretty good and pretty exciting under Will Wade. In fact, he took them to the NCAA tournament, I don't know, at least 3 or 4 times during that period of time. He went from McNeese State, NC State. I mean, like, if you hire Will Wade, you know what you're hiring. You're hiring a sleazy dude. Now, he can coach basketball, and he knows where to find players, okay? He's good at some of those things. And so LSU, who was embarrassed by – so they got Kiffin while he was still a sitting head coach at Ole Miss, and he left, didn't get to coach them in the college football playoff, and then Golden ended up coaching them and becoming the head coach, Pete Golden. Well, now Will Wade goes from NC State to LSU. And so now men's basketball gets serious at LSU. Again, known cheater, known to have issues with the feds. You know, he did have a really good relationship in her 1 year there with a crossover with Kim Mulkey. I can tell you that. So now at your 3 biggest things, although at LSU you might, it is the 3 biggest things. Baseball's way up there too at LSU. They spend a lot of money on it, and they're very good at it. All right. I don't know. They're really good. I don't know what they are right now. They're probably top 5, top 10, but they win the national title a lot. So now they have Lane Kiffin, football coach, Kim Mulkey, women's basketball, Will Wade, men's basketball. Now, you sort of have to understand it's one of those rare places that when you go to LSU, Scott and Kim tried to make it work for all those years. But at LSU right now, you play second fiddle to Kim Mulkey because they have an incredible women's program, and they won a national title 2 or 3 years ago under Kim Mulkey. That was her. She won 3 at Baylor. Her 4th was at LSU. All right. She is one of the top 3 coaches in all of women's basketball. But now, because Will Wade is there and because they're going to commit to NIL money, and they'll have at least 10 to 15 million coming in for that program, they're going to commit to it. Men's basketball will get good again. Because, again, for as sleazy a person as he is, he can coach, and he knows how to find them. He's a younger Calipari. Now, he's not as good a coach as John Calipari, don't get me wrong, but that's who he is. He's cut from that same cloth. So now LSU should be really good at all 3 of those sports and great at baseball. And I'm sure other stuff, gymnastics and all that. But the way they went about it is, again, how you'd expect them to go about it. They still had a coach in place, and they were going to let him keep coaching at LSU if they weren't able to land Will Wade. But they were, and they did it in the typical LSU fashion. They went and hired the administrator that had hired him at McNeese State to come to LSU so he could be, to lure him in, and so he would feel more comfortable. And if I know Will Wade, he will ask to only report to this person. Generally, you got to report to like a basketball administrator or the AD or whatever. But Will Wade will want to report to his old AD at McNeese State. This is a school where the governor just kind of runs it. Now, in this case, it's being reported that this was not the governor's decision, but we're only a year removed from the governor talking about how he wanted Will Wade back at LSU. And you say, Matt, well, how does that? Well, see, at Texas and Texas A&M, they've got a board of regents, and yes, the governor does appoint that. But for the governor, I mean, the lieutenant governor and the governor and all the people in Texas, they got enough on their hands. They don't really run the athletics. All right, they just kind of do whatever the Crystal Conte at Texas and Trev Albert at Alberts at A&M. They do. They actually let those ADs run the programs. You know, they do, again, those people and the presidents at those places have to report to the Board of Regents, but those ADs have power. What we found out recently is the AD at LSU has zero power. If the governor doesn't like something, the governor just comes in and says, get out of my way. This is the way we're going to do all this. And we're going to get Brian Kelly out of here, and we're going to go do what we need to do. And if it's Lane Kiffin or whoever it needs to be, that's going to be it. So LSU is a way, way different place. See, Kim Mulkey is not at Baylor anymore for different reasons, but not to relitigate that or look back into that, but mainly because she and Mack Rhoades couldn't get along. Some of that was her fault. Some of that was Mack's fault. If somebody has been that great and won 3 national titles, should you find a way to keep them? Sure. But President Livingstone allowed Mack to do whatever Mack saw fit. And they in no way tried to keep Kim Mulkey. Anybody ever tries to tell you they did, just know that that person's not being forthright. They didn't ask her to leave, but when she had the other opportunity, a lot of people at Baylor were more than thrilled to see her go. What would Kim Mulkey have done at Baylor with NIL? I don't know. But all this business of how great the Big 12 has become, I don't know. How great is it? LSU went up against Tech the other day and beat them by like 55 points. Do you think any team in the Big 12 could even give LSU a game right now? No. And you say, well, Matt, she's got more NIL money and all that. Well, of course. Of course she does that at LSU. But again, I think in retrospect, most of us would agree that if you have the chance to try to keep the greatest coach you've ever had, then you probably need to find a way to do that. And she was not dying to leave. I promise you that. But whatever, that all happened, and it's happened. And Baylor needs to just support Nikki the best way they can. Will Baylor ever be a huge player on the national scene again in women's basketball? I mean, right now, that seems like a huge long shot. I hope it happens, but they took a proven commodity and got careless and let her go, and now she's created a monster elsewhere. Now Baylor needs to pour everything into. Obviously they're trying to help Aranda turn it around, but Baylor, the one thing that's been, even after Kim left right after Scott won his national title. Did that have anything to do with the other? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But Baylor has to get back to being good at men's basketball. And this year was completely unacceptable. They know that. And Scott told us that last year. So anyway, sorry, the LSU thing always then gets me thinking back into all the Baylor, Mulkey stuff. And it's unforgivable what they did, like letting her walk. It really is. But that said, you got to move on. And that AD is now gone, and sadly, he's been disgraced by his own actions. But Baylor's got to put it together, and Doug McNamee has a tall order because none of these sports right now are clicking. Baseball, women's basketball, men's basketball, football. Like, there's nothing to hang your hat on other than acro and tumbling, which doesn't obviously bring in revenue, and softball, which is always good under Coach Moore, but obviously he would be the first to tell you that doesn't bring in revenue. Now, what Tech did was pretty cool. What Tech decided is, we don't care if it brings in revenue. What if it gets us this huge amount of attention? What if we get great at softball? That's always an interesting way to think. It's a different way to think of marketing. And to say that Baylor, I mean, if somebody at Baylor wanted to put up $1 million to go get the greatest pitcher in the game, I think Coach Moore would accept that. All right, Kev, we want to also bring up the Brazos Landing. This is our landing spot. This is where we land the show today, and we appreciate it. We appreciate the seafood options, the steaks, the burger, the fish and chips. I love the fish and chips. I really do. I don't know if Becky would say that's the best thing on the menu, but I love it. I just really, what Becky thinks is she knows I like to get the food and get on the road sometimes. And so she's always thinking in terms of what holds up the best for Mosley. But man, all of their food is so good, and all their appetizers, it's incredible. And I'll just get the queso, and I'm telling you, it really outdoes a lot of the different quesos in town. And then they have that queso. They have the triple sampler. They got the guac, the queso, and that sort of mango or salsa. It's really, really nice. Kev, good job by you today. Let me just ask you, any upset picks from you tonight? Obviously, I think you'll stick with Purdue over Texas. It would shock me if you pick Texas. What in that Big Ten matchup, because you probably, because of your love for Indiana and your love for Big Ten hoops, you probably watched more Iowa and Nebraska than most of us. Who do you have in that one?
The way things are going right now, I think it's Iowa on that one. I think that they're trending in the right direction, whereas Nebraska maybe isn't quite. And as you mentioned, almost got upset right there at the end with Vandy. It was outplayed most of the game by Vandy, I think. So I got Iowa winning that one. And I know I mentioned yesterday, I got Illinois over Houston. I think Illinois can beat you in so many different ways with so many different people that I think that they have what it takes.
You know, as you were talking, I just thought about something about like Scott Drew. And I wonder sometimes, like he had the season he had this year, if it ever crossed his mind, like, well, I could have taken that Kentucky job. But as you were just talking right there, Kevin, I was thinking to myself, yeah, but Mark Pope is like one first-round exit away from being done at Kentucky.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that he played there. Those people will turn on you in a heartbeat. So I still think Scott made the right decision, not just because I love that he stayed, but I hope he and his family don't have regrets on that. But
I jokingly have told you that I think that Scott Drew should come back to Indiana, but I think the same problem exists with the Hoosiers, even though they have not seen the level of consistent success over the last several years, that if you don't do well, the fans have such a high, they want it so much, and they have the history there that there's not much tolerance.
There's no patience. There's no patience. There's no tolerance. There's no Like, I guarantee you Coach K was not great at Duke in those early days. Those days, I'll tell you, another famous example in the NFL is Tom Landry. I mean, it took the Cowboys his first 5 seasons, Parcells at the Giants. They were not, first 2 or 3 seasons, they were not good. Now they would have been fired. We would have never known about Tuna or the great Landry because they would be gone. But people don't have that. Thank goodness Baylor understood all those years ago, hey, we have flatlined. We are a nothing program, and we got to give this guy time. And within about 4 years, Scott had the thing moving in the right direction. Here we go, NIT, Curtis Gerald's, Dugat. It was starting to go in the right direction, and sure enough, years later, there they were in the Elite Eight. The Elite Eight. We were all there in Houston together, watching the Bears almost take down Coach K and those mighty Duke Blue Devils. Oh, they had the 6 man in the form of the official. All right, Kev, good stuff today. Good show. We'll do it again tomorrow at 1 o'clock on the Mosley Show, 1 to 3, Monday through Friday. We'll see you tomorrow.
Central National Bank, this is Nikki. How may I help you?
Yes, can you please transfer me to the loan department?
You want to transfer?
Yes, please.
I'm sorry, you can't transfer right now.
What?
Have a good day. Yes, how may I help you?
Hi, I would like to transfer money from my C&B account to another bank.
Absolutely not. No. Have a great day.
Wait, hold.
I'm on your website and I'm trying to find the link for your payment portal.
The portal is currently unavailable. Have a great day.
We've received a few complaints.
Correct. We no longer allow any outgoing transfers, only incoming.
But the good news is, no money is leaving the bank. Like, none.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
Experience with the Mosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
MosleyMD.com.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your taste. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.